Hey there, Adam here. So I took some video of my tank getting moved. Well, I guess mostly after my tank was moved. I thought it'd be kind of fun to show you the struggles. There were a few significant issues, including some electric issues. So I thought it'd be fun. I just took it on my phone, so the quality is not great. But, you know, it's worth documenting. And then you can sort of watch me get the tank back up to speed. I am going to do an ICP test this week, and hopefully, now that I've got moved into my new house, I'm going to have more time to get everything nice again. And also, I'm now in a city that actually has reef tank stores, which is going to make getting new fish, new coral, trading stuff, trading stuff in, selling stuff, whatever. It's going to make it all so much easier being somewhere that actually has other people in the hobby, rather than me just sort of being little old me out in the middle of nowhere. So let me turn it around real quick and I'll show you what it currently looks like, and then after that I will just share the videos I took over the last couple days. Thanks. So here's what the tank currently looks like. It's about 5:30, so it's really blue right now. You can tell that some of the SPS are looking okay, actually. And actually the Blasto and the A-cans look fine. It's, like I said, it's really blue, I know. But they look pretty solid. The Monties look good. The bird's nest looks sort of sad, but it does have some polyp extension. And, we got my Elegance is still, unfortunately, I think on its way out. But overall, it doesn't look much worse than it did right before the move. So, the fish look good. So this is 2 days post-move. I just wanted to show what it looked like now. I have the sump all up and running. I still have some logistical issues with buckets and barrels and mixing, and here's my table full of testing stuff. So definitely have some kinks to work out, but I'm going to share the other videos, and I hope you enjoy. And then my next set of videos, I'm sure will be back on my nicer camera, so you're going to get some decent video quality and color correction and whatnot. It's not going to look quite so blue. Thanks for watching. Just a very short video for posterity's sake. Tank has been up and running for a couple hours now. You can't see anything. Moving is definitely not a whole lot of fun. Clownfish is unhappy with me. I've seen one of the chromies, but I have not seen any other fish. They're somewhere in the mark. So I'll do, just wanted to give a quick video to show what a tank like this looks like after you move it. A lot of it's because there's new sand. We didn't want to put the old sand back in. So I will post videos as I continue to get it back up and running. Here's the new sump though, which looks fantastic. Really, really happy with how this came out. I need to get ATO chamber at some point, put it over here. I have so much more space now. You guys at Nemo's Reef did a good job getting all the electronics back up and running. It's much cleaner, looks great, and it's gonna look great on this wall once I finish getting everything up. All right, update number 2. Just gonna keep using my cell phone. So here's the first unpleasant surprise. Apparently, either during the move or before, I don't know. I'm definitely not blaming the moving guys. It's possible there was an issue beforehand. Something in my tank broke and started electrifying the water, which gave me a very unpleasant surprise when I reached my hand in there and got myself zapped pretty good. My hand did not appreciate that, and I actually think I have a little blister on my finger. So after unplugging a bunch of stuff and phoning in a friend to make sure I was on the phone with somebody while poking at the water, I think I isolated it to the wave makers, the J-Bow wave makers, which are the little, you can't really see them right now, it's the little round wave maker thing right here. They're on 3-minute pulses, so I was trying to figure out why the electrocution was at seemingly random intervals, and I think it was actually at 3-minute intervals. So I've unplugged them and stuck a finger in the tank for about 8 minutes to make sure it wasn't anything else. But I think that was it. So unfortunately, I think I was electrifying the water for 3 minutes at a time every 3 minutes for a couple hours, for I guess like 6 hours or 5 hours or something like that. So from what I've read, it probably won't do anything other than irritate the fish and the coral. So yeah, I actually see the tang back there in the corner. I saw the chromie a second ago. I've seen both clownfish. They were, let's see if we can see them. They were right back there in that little corner. I don't see them anymore. I have not seen I have not seen either one of the wrasses, which is not terribly surprising. I have not seen the foxface. So the water has also been really cold. So you probably can't see it, but it's like 70.8. My house was too cold. I should have cranked the heat up to like 74, 75 before I moved it in here. But the heat was on 70 or 65, I guess, because doors were open while we were trying to unpack everything. So the water temperature was 63, 64 when we got it in the tank. And those little heaters, I mean, you're fighting the ambient temperature of the room. And I've now cranked the heat up to 74. So I'm gonna try to keep the house nice and hot, help the ambient temperature. I bought another heater. So yeah, this is, it's an experience. Hopefully everybody's okay. The coral don't look great, but I don't, they look really sad. So hopefully they're okay. I am unwilling to stick my arm in the water right now for obvious reasons. I'm gonna go buy a multimeter tomorrow probably and stick it in there and watch it, stick it on my desk or something for like a half hour, figure out a way to rig it up so I can leave it for a long period of time and make sure there aren't any random vaults in the water, because it's pretty scary. I mean, if it had been more than just my half my hand in the water, I don't know. I mean, so that's sort of scary. So yeah, I think the lesson here is to, I'm going off my light. Lesson here is probably to buy a multimeter and test your water after you move all your equipment and you move it 150 miles. So, and again, I don't know that it was broken during the move. It's, likely that it was broken during the move because, it was working before. But yeah, that's what I got. I figured to record it right after the fact because you're not going to get the same feeling for it with my hand still currently tingling and a red spot on 2 of my fingers. So, all right, thanks. So I'm just going to keep tagging on these short little clips. Say hi, Ari. No? Okay. So now what I'm doing, this is what the guy from Nemo's Reef said, hooked up for me. I am running the water RODI off of the washing machine hookup, which I am getting a new washing machine on Monday. So what I'm going to do is get a Y connector, and then you'll see the waste cord is running down where the waste would go for the washing machine. So dual purpose, and that way I don't need a utility sink, at least not right off the bat. So, it's still got the standard plug off, which I'm not going to find out at this point how it works. I assume it'll work correctly, but we'll test that on a day where I want to fill up the whole thing. Right now I only want to fill it, a third of the way up. Just so that I have some water, but I can still move this barrel, because it's not going to stay in the middle of this room. I'm still needing to clean everything up. Alright, it's now the morning of the day after the move. As you can see, the fish are out. So that's a huge relief. They actually seem pretty normal. They seem fine. So, that was my big concern. The coral look, you can see I need to get my arm in there. I was trying to give it a few hours. The coral look bad, but I think they could look worse. Looks like I'm going to lose the head of this torch. It wasn't doing great before, so that's not terribly surprising. It always look okay. Lots of green mushrooms, and then there's all this Monty, which I think I'm just going to try to donate. Just going to put a post somewhere and ask if anybody wants it and they can come grab it. It's just sort of in the way, and then I got to figure out how to remount all the candy canes. They were right up there somewhere, so that'll be fun. Alright. All right, we're now into the second evening of working on the fish tank. So I'm now 100% sure that the issue is my return pump. This one down here. So, I just kept unplugging things, and the reason I was getting inconsistent readings, or whatever, inconsistent zaps, is because the current is apparently so minor that the only way that it was hurting is I have a small paper cut on my right thumb, and if I touch it just the tip of my finger, it sends enough of a zap to cause some minor pain in my thumb. But if I stick any other finger in the water, no pain, and if I stick other fingers in the water and then my thumb in the water, also no pain, because I guess the voltage is just dispersed enough across my skin that it's not penetrating. Not totally sure. That's my best guess. So I bought a multimeter, which I couldn't get to work. So I know it works because I tested it on a battery, but I can't get any reading off the fish tank. So I don't know. But I'm 100% sure it's the return pump now, because if I close off the circuits or if I unplug just that, the tingling stops, the pain stops. So that is what it is. I'm 100% sure of it, so I'm going to swap out the return, and I'm sort of curious. I think there's a good chance that I've had this stray voltage issue for a long period of time, or at least a decent period of time, because that would, I wouldn't have noticed it until I had a cut in my hand, because it literally doesn't feel like anything otherwise. So just no pain, no sensation. So I think there's a good chance this pump was shooting off stray voltage or whatever. I mean, it's DC, and it's enough to zap you. I think it's been doing it for a while. So we're going to get that swapped out, and I'm curious as to whether or not that's why you can't see anything right now. But the LPS and the ZOAs have been looking poor for months now, despite water conditions looking good. I mean, everything is across the board stable and looks good, and the SPS have been growing super well. So I'm curious as whether or not perhaps the torches and the ZOAs are just more susceptible to that voltage in the water. And apparently, from what I read online at least, the fish are also fairly unconcerned about low amounts of voltage in the water. It really, it can lead to issues long term, but short term doesn't tend to do a whole lot. And all the fish are healthy and they're chilling. And actually, surprisingly, everybody's out hanging out 24 hours after the move. I thought they'd be still hiding. So I'm gonna swap out the return pump, rearrange the rock work at some point once I quit getting zapped, and then we'll go from there. All right. We are now day 2 post-move, and it's looking a little better in here. So I've rearranged some of the rocks, some of the coral, just moved them so that nothing's touching one another anymore. Broke off the pieces that were covering up the acro. And overall, I don't think it's looking any worse. So some of the coral are looking a little better. That head's still on its way out. Hopefully the other one makes it. Might be getting a little too much flow right there. My rock work is different now, so I'm gonna have to rearrange and figure out where I want things. So a lot of the SPS look fine. This obviously, pasta porta still looks good. The A-cans look good. The Jedi Mind Trick looking a little sad because I just rearranged stuff, but half an hour ago it looked almost as good as normal. So overall, might be past the worst of it. Gonna get the guys from Reef are gonna come and install another new pump, and I'm gonna put a grounding rod in here as well to hopefully deal with that voltage issue. Those two things together should be fine. I did the whole battery of water tests this afternoon, so just for curiosity's sake, alkalinity 8.5, calcium 430 to 440, magnesium I can't find my test kit, so that one I didn't test. Nitrates between like 10 and 12, and phosphates around 0.1. So phosphates are a tiny bit too high, but it's not a huge deal. I'll run some GFO and get them back down. I'd rather keep them around 0.05, 0.07. So we'll fix that. But overall, I don't think that's going to be hurting things. Not that level anyways. Might have some color issues, but that's about it. So I have a I got a Triton water test kit or whatever it's called to ship it off and test the water. The name eludes me at the moment. So I'm going to try that. I've done a couple from another company before, which were okay, but I'm going to try the Triton one to see if they do a better job. It's like $50 a test, so a little pricey. But we're going to ship that off now that I'm sure that I've got everything stabilized, so I can start diagnosing why my LPS have been hating me for the last couple months now that I have the time to do it, now that I've finished my move.